So I have a funny story. I'm sure you know it. It's a story of the Maggid Mekuznitz. Maggid Mekuznitz, he still has his descendants. They live in Yerushalayim, and they still have a minhag. So one time a couple came, and for a divorce, they came to him, and he heard why they came. He started talking to them, please, guys, don't do this. And the husband was a very simple person, and he said, no, I cannot live with this woman. She doesn't let me enjoy my Shabbat. He says, what? What do you mean? He says, yeah, I enjoy very much eating kugel on Shabbat. And that's my Oneg Shabbat. And the whole week, he says, I work very hard for Parnassah. And I don't mind just eating a dry piece of bread the whole week. I save up. I'm going to make sure that on Shabbat I could enjoy. And this wife doesn't allow me to enjoy my Shabbat. When I come in the morning from shul, I sit down, I make kiddush, I wash my hand, and I'm ready for the seudah. And he says, my wife brings me stuffed fish, and then she brings chopped liver, and then we have cholent, and then we have meat and chicken and everything. And then the trouble is that once my wife brings me the kugel, I can't eat anymore. That's it, I'm stuffed. And I don't have the Oneg Shabbat from my kugel. So he says, nah, Rebbe, you tell us. Can I live with a woman like this? I can't. She takes away my Oneg Shabbat. So I can't live my life like this, and I want to divorce her. The Rav exhales the relief the thing, and he said, he asks the wife, what do you have to say about this? She says, this husband of mine, after he makes kiddush, he asks that I should bring the kugel. But I'm a simple woman, by my father's home. We always first eat stuffed fish, and then we have the chopped liver, and then we have the cholent, and then we have meat and stuff, and then at the end we bring the kugel. So the rabbi says, I have a good idea for the shalom for the both of you. From now on, your wife should make 2 kugels. One kugel is to be eaten in the beginning of the meal. The other kugel will be eaten at the end of the meal. Everything was good. Baruch Hashem, they accepted it, and and in the house of Maggid of Kuznetz, this became a minhag. They made 2 kugels themselves also. It was called the Shalom Bayit kugel, the first one, and that's what they still do to this day. And they eat this Shalom Bayit kugel in his home, in the homes of his descendants. All right, good.
That's a true story.
I think so. Yeah, all the Hasidic stories are true. Some are made up, but they're all true. You could see I'm running out of stories, so I'm whatever I can get. Right? It still teaches us, kavod of Shabbat. It's these people, simple people, that they had such a kavod for Shabbat. It's amazing. Please remind me. I didn't make a sign where I got up to last time. Did we talk about putting a bandage on a cut last week?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. With and that is asur to smear the thing on it, the ointment on it, because you might come and straighten it up. Okay, fine.
Just repeat it.
So it's like this. Very good. So these things happen. So one could bandage up, chas v'shalom, if there's a cut. But if you want to put, let's say, an ointment on the bandage and to put it on, that we're not allowed to. It's a chashash. We're afraid that he's going to smooth it out to make sure that it's all over, and that's memareach.
It doesn't matter if you put it on the bandage or on the cut, either way.
You could put it on the cut, right? But not on the bandage. On the cut, a person puts a dab on it and then put the thing on it. That's fine. It's so much so.
The sticker thing part of the bandage, we don't care.
To rip it up. Oh, no. Rav says it's not a problem. It's not a Rav. A lot of other achronim also say that that's also not an issue.
What if it's not needed?
What's not needed? The ointment?
The Band-Aid.
Then you don't use it.
My daughter loves Band-Aids.
Tova.
Oh, you mean
they
like
get
that?
a boo-boo that's not a boo-boo, but they want a Band-Aid.
Yeah. So you make them do it themselves.
That's an idea. That's
I
an
keep the
idea.
band-aids I have, or else they'll be gone in one day.
Kids have their own boxes of band-aids. They started doing that too.
It's a petty cash. But they say it like this: if you remove the bandage with the ointment, let's say before Shabbat they put the ointment on it and put it on. Now on Shabbat they took it off for some reason, and now they want to put it back on. It depends. If you're still holding on to it, it becomes like the pot. If you're still holding on to it, then there's no hesach hadad. You put it back on. But if you put it down on the floor or something, then we are afraid that you're going to try to see, oh, wait a minute, it's not so smooth. Let me smooth it out. Let me make sure it's got it all over. Then they say that the one cannot do it, right? Obviously, we're talking about definitely Choleh she'en bo sakana, right? Because Choleh she'esh bo sakana, we said none of these would be a matter. If chas v'shalom there is like a sprain, there is like there is a lot of pain, and they want to put the hot and cold compress. We said that could be done. However, it has to be that the cloth is clean, right, and the water is clean. So then it's not that you're doing laundry by soaking the thing in the hot water or in the cold water, whichever, right. Good. I'm not sure if we said this, right? We said these things, right? What about the ace bandage? Can we use ace bandage on Shabbat?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because all these things that have come to refuah, we're afraid, because as we explained, did we explain last week? It was shachikat samanim, to grind. Like, there are certain things that you can't do. So over here also, you might think that this is also refuah. This is also something that is done for healing purposes, and you might come and make medicine, which we mentioned last week. There is, according to some opinions, these days it doesn't apply because nobody knows how to make medicine. So, but we say we don't go like that. However, it could be used as part of a heter that we're looking for. It could be used. So with this for sure, ace bandage, there's no gezerah of shachikat samamanim. There is no gezerah that, if you put the ace bandage on, so you might come and make medication. It's not connected at all. So therefore, one is allowed to use it if chas v'shalom it's needed. It could be used. Now, just another word for band-aid, right? Band-aid is not a healing thing. So therefore, there is no gezerah of shachikat samamanim. If you put a band-aid on, so then you're going to come and make medication. There's no such thing. The only thing is that it protects the cut, whatever it is. That you shouldn't get more open. You shouldn't get scratched when you're passing by somewhere, or your sleeve scrapes it, and so on and so forth. Sorry, and so therefore it's just a protection. Being that that's the case, it is not an issue to use a band-aid. All right, and to remove the outer thing around the band-aid, and to remove the little pieces on the gluing part is also fine, because it's not there. It's not made to be there permanently. So it's not an isur of korea, right? Korea, and when you take it off of that thing, like you mentioned before. I think we learned this when we were learning Halachot Korea, and we said it's not a problem to put it on. Now, can one remove a band-aid on Shabbat? What's the problem? There's no problem. The only problem could be that you could pull the hair out as you're pulling it off, right? And we said that's not a problem either, because that's not his intention. His intention is not at all to pull the hair out, so therefore it is mutar. Okay, so now, if there is a Choleh she'en bo sakana, and he has a lot of pain on the back, and the doctor gave him an ointment that he should be put on, right? And this ointment could be put on the back. It gets rubbed in very much, and it gets totally absorbed into the skin. It is mutar to use this ointment on Shabbat.
What does that mean, totally rubbed in?
That means there's not going to be even a film, a little layer of it out, right? You put a little dab of it, and then you rub it in completely, and it's gone.
It looks oily, like
No.
cream?
What's it called?
Like Aspercream or Bengay, those
Aspergillus Bengay. Yeah, those
They're
type of
meant
stuff.
to be rubbed in completely.
Right. That's the idea. Exactly.
It still leaves like a residue.
The residue really is like discernible. It's like a film out on the outside. If it is, then it's a problem.
No, I'm just thinking of any type of ointment in general.
Not necessarily. No, a lot of them could be totally absorbed. You don't see anything. Like we mentioned last week. Was it last week we discussed the moisturizer
Maybe you
and
don't see anything, but it's like shiny and
yeah, the
chatter.
shiny there's nothing.
Chatter. How do you
Well,
say it?
no, if you rub it in good, it won't be sharp. It'll
don't
be.
use so much.
Yeah, very little. Rabbi Vadia said, I remember in Shir also he said it. He said to use very little. To use a tiny drop, and it works. It really works. Some people use a lot, and it's excessive. For a baby has is teething, right, and is crying. And you want to put oral gel, what is it called? You could take a little bit and rub it on the baby's gum, but make sure it gets totally absorbed all around, and that's fine. Because for sure, for a baby is a Choleh she'en bo sakana, for sure. Any baby is a Choleh she'en bo sakana, we said, and therefore that would be allowed. And this over here also, the person has pain, so much pain in the back. This will help the person be able to walk around Shabbat. It is definitely allowed. A baby's got rashes, right? They want to use Desitin, rashes from. Obviously, we know what it's from. Otherwise, you can't just so then, for sure, and he's suffering, he's crying, and everything. You are allowed to use a little bit of that again, and then rub it in until it's totally absorbed, and it's not a problem.
Desitin, it gets absorbed. It's like very
Desitin
thick.
also, if you use it a little bit, it gets totally absorbed, and it'll do the job.
But you could do it with something else, like a Q-tip or something.
Right, we said you could use a Q-tip and just put it on without smearing. But this is giving us an idea. We could also smear it. Remember, again, baby is a Choleh she'en bo sakana, so some of these things will be allowed. Okay.
Wait, just to clarify. So when it comes
Right.
to, let's say, applying something like Desitin, so either you could just dab it on without smearing it, or if you are going to smear it, it has to be completely absorbed.
Correct. Exactly.
But nothing in between.
Nothing in between. Either you dab it and just leave it on, put as much as you like, without smearing it at all, or take a little piece, a little bit, and rub it in totally until it gets absorbed. That'll work. Now, an interesting thing. It's a Mishnah in Masechet Shabbat. Daf Kuf Mem Zayin. Over there, one of the things that it says you can't do on Shabbat, it says lo mitamelim. Mitamelim. In Hebrew, modern Hebrew, lehitamel means to exercise. But obviously, Mishnah is not talking about that. Rashi says leshafshef bekoach. It means to rub very hard. On Shabbat, you can't sort of like a massage, right? Rabbeinu Hananel, one of the other Rishonim, early Rishonim, he says what it is. Mitamelim means, he says, that they will stretch and bend their arm back and forth and their feet back and forth. They would do. It's interesting. 1,000 years ago, he writes that this is what they used to do, and he continues and writes that through this mitchamimim, they get heated up and they sweat, and this is sort of like refuah, right? Sweating is sort of like refuah, and it is asur. That's what it brings, because it's similar to that. And by the way, they would. What would they do? The Turizah explains. He says sometimes they would make medications to make a person sweat, and that was a healing process. Once a person sweats, the sweat takes the toxic things out of a person's body, and then that'll heal him. That is sort of like a medication. So it is, in this case, we could say that there is a gezer of shachikat samamanim. That if you allow it, it says, oh, look, I could make a person sweat, so let me make some medication that'll be just as good, and therefore he'll be able to sweat and everything. Shulchan Aruch brings down, copies this, and says, Ein mitamelim b'Shabbat. Shulchan Aruch writes that you cannot do hitamlut, this mitamelim on Shabbat, which is shedures al haguf. He says he steps hard on the body of the person so that the person will sweat. I don't know if you guys know in Iran, they had these baths the guy that was in charge, he would like really make the person sweat, give him a massage until like he bleeding, like so hard, like and they would really sweat, and it was like refuah for them. It was a healing thing, like they could imagine once these people were out of the bathhouse, they were like finished. But this is like sort of like refuah, and therefore Shulchan Aruch says it is asur to do that. Now, taken from there, so you might think that all these things would be asur on Shabbat, but really, if the person is not sweating and his intention is not for refuah or sweating, it's allowed. If a person wants to get a massage, let's say on Shabbat, right? He could get a massage if it's done lightly, no problem. Or if he wants to do exercises, light exercises that don't make him sweat, it's fine. Person wants to keep in shape.
Although the sweating, or let's say you have a muscle spasm.
He's doing it for refuah. So if he's doing it for refuah, also that's fine. Like, as long as he doesn't sweat, it's fine. Or let's say a person wants to take a morning run even. Wants to run in the morning, to keep in shape. Rav Chacham Ben Zion would say that it's allowed on Shabbat morning even, right?
Massaging is okay even if it's for refuah.
Massaging, even if it's for someone has a little bit of pain, like his muscles hurt, and he wants someone to like give him a good massage, he could do it. But as long as he doesn't do it hard enough for him to sweat, that's fine, right? But they can't use an ointment, right? Oil they could use. Oil is not a problem. An ointment, like to put, but they want to use oil. Like it's very hard to get a massage without the oil. So that they want to do, even that is fine as long as it's not done hard that a person will sweat. That's fine.
Does the oil have to like this around? So does the oil also have to be absorbed?
No, there's difference. Oil is not a gezerah of memareach. What's he going to do? Straighten, smooth out the oil, right? That smoothing is only by a hard, like wax. That's where the whole Isur HaMemareach comes in. But we said like a moisturizer. Is it a problem to use a moisturizer? It's not. It doesn't go into that.
Wait, so for like chapped lips and stuff, you could also.
Chapped lips is different. A moisturizer, liquid, like a more liquidy moisturizer to put on. It's not a problem.
It's like the roller ball.
Yeah.
So, coconut oil is pretty much waxy because it's more solid at room temperature. So that doesn't really, it's an oil, but it's not an oil because it's waxy. So can one use it but rub it in to the point where it's completely gone? Because once it gets in contact with body temperature, it will melt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So how does it come? It comes in the bottle?
Yeah, it comes
and gets
in
poured?
solid
Sometimes
jars.
it's solid, but it changes with the temperature. So even sometimes at
If your
room
room is
temperature,
warm.
sometimes it will even be a little water.
So you have to leave it on room temperature, I think, because when it's solid, then it's like literally like the melacha, like an ointment, which would be problematic. But if you leave it outside, it'll change its texture. Then that should be fine. That'll work. That should work. Interesting. Coconut oil, huh? All right.
But for a massage though, right, you can't use like lotion.
So if it's
gonna be
if it's liquid,
Right.
it's fine. Yeah, these things is fine. But again, you gotta make sure that it's not done hard, like that a person would sweat. That's the problem. That's what the poskim are bringing as a problem. Now, a person who has a very bad cold could happen sometimes, even in LA. So he could, you know what they do? They take this thing. What is this thing called? It has a very strong odor.
Eucalyptus.
What eucalyptus?
Vapor rub?
Is it
Vicks.
Vicks? Oh yeah, Vicks. That's it. That's it. Vicks. So they don't rub it. No, I'm not talking about rubbing it. Vicks is a problem. It's a problem. It's like Vaseline. It's even the hard. I would say it's more the harder texture than Vaseline, but he just wants to smell it, right? That's not a problem because this thing is not for refuah.
So you can't rub it on kids who are coughing?
No, just let him smell it, right? Because the smell, the odor, the fumes that come out of it, they open up. They open up the breathing apparatus, and it helps. So this thing is not a problem of shechikat samamanim. Oh, if you let him do this, there's no such a thing. Like from this, you're not going to come and make medicine out of it. So therefore, that is allowed to do, right? To just smell it. However, it's just a thought, just a second. To use nose drops, all right, that we can do. That is, we cannot, right? To use nose drops, that we can't do, because that is a medication. However, if a person, you're talking about the saline. To use saline just for cleansing. That's not I'm talking about nose drops that they put in, it has medication. It has some of them has you're right, the sprays. It has cortisone.
Right. But for the kids, it's usually just.
It's just salt and water, saline. That's fine. That's just for cleaning purposes. That's not a medication.
How about an allergy spray?
Allergy spray, meaning what? The person is like sneezing and everything.
Miserable.
Like antihistamine type.
Yeah.
So what does that do? That opens up the airways, probably. That's what it does. Or it lessens the swelling. Which one is it?
It probably relieves swelling. Yeah.
That's what it does.
But steroids do the same thing. They alleviate swelling. They basically reduce swelling.
So it could be a problem. Now, if a person is Choleh kol gufo, right? So he's, remember we said in Choleh she'en bo sakana, there are different levels. If he's Choleh kol gufo, that means his whole body aches, or it's just such a terrible cold that he can't even get out of bed. In that case, you could ask a goy. You could ask a goy to do it. Goy could do it even if he's not Choleh kol gufo. To put the nose drops or the nose spray in, Listen, a lot of people have living maids. You'd be surprised. So they could ask them to do it. Then you don't even.
Wait, I'm a little bit confused between the difference between the vapor rub on the kids and the
Vicks.
The diaper rash.
Oh, so this vapor wrap, it's called.
Vapor rub.
Oh, vapor rub. What does it do? They rub it on the nose or what?
On the chest,
of the
yeah.
baby.
I'm not
so
supposed to
that
put it
comes
on
out.
kids anymore, they say.
Right now.
After 2 years, it's fine.
I have no idea. I had baby ones also.
Yeah, baby.
So they want to rub it on the baby's chest
I also
so
heard
that.
it works when you do it on the soles of the feet. I've never
And
heard
then
of
hooks
tops.
up.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Really interesting. I was reading when a person would get drunk. So they have this thing that they will rub the palm of their hand and the palm of their feet with oil, and then the drunkenness would go away. So that's where the question originally popped up: can one rub oil on a person? That's where they were writing it on. And a person would get drunk, and in order to, Friday night, they drank so much they can't even walk. So they would rub the palm of their hand and the palm of their feet. It's interesting you say that, with oil, and it will go away. I don't know. I guess they tickle them so much. I don't know, whatever it was. But it's interesting
There
that.
are pressure points. There's remedies through.
Right. Okay, like reflexology.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So you're saying that they use this for the baby? This is different.
There's not much you could do when the baby's coughing because the cough medicine is
Not gonna work right away.
Completely a no-no. You can turn on the humidifier because it's Shabbos.
Right. By the way, humidifier. I was gonna say it later, but let's say it now. Humidifier. If it's a cold, it's not using heat, and let's say the water runs out. Can you add water on Shabbat? Yeah.
Why not?
Doesn't do anything. It just makes the water into tiny particles and it spreads it out. And the machine is working continuously. It's not doing anything. All you're doing.
The light goes off and on.
Right. If you have an indicator, then you gotta. You can't. Then you could tell the goy because the baby, if a baby is a Choleh she'en bo sakana, and the goy could do it, no problem. You could tell the goy to put the water or break the indicator light, whatever you want.
Our doctor holds that they don't even really do anything.
Oh, really? Okay. So much for that. Okay, if they don't do anything, then then there's no use. Okay.
As a vapor rub, maybe you could use small enough so that it completely gets absorbed.
So there's two issues. One issue is the memareach, Isur of memareach, that you're going to rub the ointment. So we said that is taken care of once you rub it in and it's totally gone. But then there's the other issue of medicine. Can we use medicine on Shabbat? Because if you do, then we have a problem of shachikat samamanim. For a baby, he's a choleh she'en bo sakana. And therefore, if you think that this type of thing would help, then you could definitely use it. So much for that, because that gezerah goes away in this case, because he would be choleh she'en bo sakana, and it's usually kids are like crying and they're very, very, very uncomfortable, and it's scary sometimes. They can't breathe well. Yeah, so then definitely a person could use it.
So you could put Vicks?
Yeah,
And just take it and rub it all in?
right. But you got to make sure that it gets rubbed in totally.
Or just dab it on. That's
Dab it on is not going to help.
Supposed to rub it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you dab it on, it just looks pretty. That's it. It won't help. It has to get rubbed into the system. So again, with the guy with the cold, the person with the cold, they could go ahead and ask a goy to put the nose drops, and that will take care of the issue of the medicine part of it. Now, let's see. In the same token, a person who who stutters, has a hard time speaking. So the doctors, Baruch Hashem, nowadays they have a lot of remedies for it. One remedy is that they have breathing exercises that they have to do, right? Where they take a deep breath. Someone coming in for the shiur?
Is Lee?
Or Arvit. So I don't know if you heard this, that the people stutter, or they have an issue talking. So there is this breathing exercises that they take a deep breath, right? They bring it in, and then slowly. The glass is locked. So there is the combination. Do char baham badeste. It says on the door. Can't say it in English in the video. That's a problem. So this breathing exercise, they breathe in and they hold the air in, and then they let it out slowly, and they got it to do this 10 times in a row. It'll strengthen the muscles, and they'll be able to have more control, right? And it does help, but it has to be done every single day. So I have a question: Can this be done on Shabbat? This breathing exercise can it be done on Shabbat? So I was surprised. There are questions back and forth. If one is allowed to do it, one is not allowed to do it. I was very surprised to see, but it's back and forth. Everybody says it's fine. For many reasons, it is fine, and it's not a problem of thinking that, now he's going to go ahead and make medication and so on and so forth. And therefore, they do allow these exercises. Anyway, again, I was just different things are already right there. He says if a person wants to take a walk after the meal on Shabbat, for digestion and everything, so it's perfectly fine. It's not a problem at all. It's not a problem of refuah, and therefore it could be done. There was a question that was asked: is this refuah or not? And instead, it's not a problem. How about a person?
Sorry, what's considered choleh she'en bo sakana?
Choleh she'en bo sakana. That means there is no danger for life or limb in this person. Now, there's a lot of different levels. There's no sakana, Baruch Hashem, there is no danger, but this has different levels. There's a choleh that doesn't have a sakana. However, he has pain all over his body, or he cannot walk around. He's in bed, can't walk around. So there's more leniencies for this person. That means you could tell the goy to cook food for him. He has a bad cold, he can't get out of bed, aching all over. You could call a goy and tell him, come here, Mustafa, make a chicken soup for this guy. Cook a chicken soup for this guy. It's bishulei akum. A goy is cooking. That's fine, right? That's fine. But can anybody else eat it? No. Even he himself after Shabbat can't eat it. Right away after Shabbat he can't eat. There's big machloket on this. between the Rabbi Eliezer Mimitz and Rashba, like, can it be eaten after Shabbat or not? By others, by himself, even the sick person cannot eat it after Shabbat. That's how the Shulchan Aruch comes out. Because we could cook for him now. So this food becomes not edible anymore, and the kelim, the pots, even though the goy cooked in it, it still doesn't make it not kosher, and it could be used after Shabbat without making it kosher. Especially if he cooked it in the Jews' home, then we have the all-time favorite heter of the Ra'ava that says bishulei akum, like a goy is cooking. If it's done in a place that belongs to the Jews, that means the Jews living there, i.e. a Jewish home or a Jewish hospital or a Jewish catering hall, there is a heter like that even if a goy cooked it, but being that it's in a Jewish home, there is no problem of chatnut, and therefore there is an allowance there. We don't rely on that alone to say, therefore any cooking of a goy is allowed, but it's there. So in this case, it could be of help, and for other reasons. So there is no problem of bishul akum, right, on Shabbat. But after Shabbat, what gives us the heter to eat this food? But I'm just saying, I'm just giving you the thing. This is a Choleh she'ein bo sakana. However, he has pain all over his body, or he's stuck in bed, can't get out of bed. We could tell the goy to do it. We could tell the goy, go to the pharmacy and buy him this medication. Amira le'akum, in the case of a Choleh she'ein bo sakana, which is stuck in bed, is allowed. Right? We said this. Now, there's a lesser, obviously, if a Choleh she'ein bo sakana, then it becomes less and less and less. The guy is mitchazek veholech kebari. He could walk around like a healthy person, but he's just not feeling well. He has a stomach ache, he has a backache, he has a headache. In those cases, no medication is allowed, right? But he could eat food that healthy people would eat in order to alleviate the pain, and so on and so forth. We said there is room for him to take like Tylenol and Advil and that sort of stuff. We said that is allowed. Vitamins, yeah. We're just repeating last week's shiur, I think. Vitamins are allowed. Also, we said last week. Okay, so these are pretty much the criterion of.
Quick question.
Yes.
It might have been what you mentioned last week, I don't know. Someone who has to take regular prescription medications, that's not an issue on Shabbat. Let's say for cholesterol, blood pressure, and all that stuff.
Right. So poskim bring down. We said it last week that someone who's taking already started the medication, it would be dangerous for them to stop.
Like antibiotics.
Right, antibiotics for sure. That would be a problem. And a person has cholesterol or blood pressure and so on and so forth. We said that a person is allowed to take that on. Continue to take that definitely on Shabbat. I finally asked the question. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. So I finally asked the question about the diabetes. The person who has diabetes, what happens to them? It's not like we're not dealing with the danger. It said right away, it said that if they want to poke and get the blood out and to measure the sugar level in the blood, that could be done on Shabbat. Usually they do it right before Shabbat and right after Shabbat, but in the case that it's needed, the doctor said that it should be done. It could be done. Yes.
Let's say you need antibiotics, but you get it on Friday. Should you wait till Motzei Shabbat to start taking it, or you can start Friday night?
You have to start it as soon as possible. Okay. Antibiotic, you need to get it into the body system until it starts working and everything. Yeah.
It takes at least 24 hours. I know for strep, you have to start taking it.
Right,
Once you start taking it, you're still contagious for 24 hours.
Yeah, that was
They won't. Now, an interesting thing: can a person continue his diet on Shabbat? It's refuah. It's refuah. It says one is allowed to do it really, but it just has to make sure that to eat a kibbutza of bread by the meals. If you want to diet, but there's a mitzvah to eat the seudot on Shabbat, and some people are very machmir in the kibbutza. It's not so much. It's just 2 ounces of bread. But they eat about 40 ounces of bread, and they say, I'm not sure if I ate enough. So these cases, if a person has a diet, good, it's not a problem. However, if it's going to take away from the Oneg Shabbat, it's not going to be able to enjoy the Shabbat, he needs to eat the kugel, right? Then he should not diet. Do diet the rest of the week, but Shabbat there is a mitzvah of Oneg Shabbat. However, if a person needs to have a diet, whatever, for for different purposes, for cholesterol, and there are certain things that he has to have less of, salt, cholesterol, whatever it is. That is allowed to do it, right? Because he has a mitzvah of v'nishmartem me'ol nafshotechem. He has to take care of himself to make sure that he's healthy and able to stick around, right? So that's that. I'm just trying to see if we could add anything to this. There's a mitzvah of Bikur Cholim on Shabbat, right? A person could do the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim. However, being that going to visit a sick person sometimes makes a person sad, he has to know. Listen, a person who is not so sick, it's something, but a person who is terribly sick, and a person goes in, he will feel very sad and and everything, has to make a judgment call. Really, it's allowed, even for the person that is very soft-hearted, and he goes and he might even cry and everything. It's still allowed because he's doing a mitzvah Bikur Cholim, and with this he might alleviate some of the pain of the sick person and so on and so forth. It is allowed. We just have to make sure to say Shabbat hu milizok u'refuah kerova lavo. It is Shabbat. I can't really pray, but refuah should come, although it's Shabbat, to remember and to remind ourselves that it is Shabbat, and a person the Shabbat should bring the refuah, Be'ezrat Hashem, for all the sick.
Let me ask a question
Yes.
based on this. So let's say it's not to visit someone who's sick and has a possibility of recovering, but it's someone who's pretty much not going to make it till the end of Shabbat. And it's a parent or something like that. So
Right.
can one...
They say it's a good thing to do.
Right.
They say it's a very good thing to do. To be there, it gives them comfort. Sometimes they don't even.
That's what my dad did when
Right.
my grandmother passed away. It was over Shabbat, and he
Right.
went and he saw her, and he pretty much said goodbye, and then he went home.
Right. That is a good thing. They say there's a whole question. I want to record this one. There's a whole question what to do